Mexico and VBS. And so this podium will be open for anyone who would like to share. Please keep it brief. Well, the ABCs of sharing is A, be audible, B, be brief, and C, be Christ-centered. All right, we want to hear about the funny stories too, but let's keep it centered around Christ, okay? So I'm going to pray for us, and then the mic will be open. Let us just be encouraged about what the Lord was doing in our hearts and in different places and through us, because the Lord was using us, all right? So let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for this night and just this opportunity to fellowship around and kind of tell like the camp stories, Lord. I pray that you'd be glorified through it, that you would continue to, Lord, help us digest everything that just kind of happened. Lord, I know it's really fast-paced for me, and I need to step back and just be thankful. But I pray that you would, Lord, bring to mind, Lord, the things that you would want us to share, or the things that have impacted us the most, the things that we have seen you faithful in, that we may encourage our brothers and sisters in this room. So be glorified, Lord. Speak through whoever you're putting on their hearts to speak, and may you be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so go for it. Anybody? I'll break the ice. And so after everyone shares, or the person who shares, we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, just one clap, all right? So let's practice 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was pretty good for our first time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, we'll do that. Okay.
Hey, what up, though? I'm just up here to break the ice, so you guys will get up. No, it was cool. One thing I just saw the Lord do through VBS is that He's shown me, I think Victoria, said it today at church. She said, to see the kids' innocence right now as they're young, they haven't been shown too much. And I just look at, all of us can speak up and say, we struggle with something. There's always something there. And it's we had to be exposed to that. And, it just broke my heart. I got to sit back and see our next generation. And I was like, yeah, it's so sick. These are going to be the people here at Edge. These are going to be the people like Aaron, running stuff, or Pastor Rod or whatever. But it also broke my heart that they have to go through sin. It just reminded me, how much sin sucks, you know? Just, how much, whoa, in the moment, and as you're learning these things, they're like, oh, yeah, this is good. I need to understand knowledge. But, that's the same exact thing that Adam and Eve ate from, and that's why sin entered, you know? And, I don't know. It was just, the Lord was just speaking to me during VBS. It was awesome, though. It was pretty cool, and I don't know. I just came up to break the ice, so I don't even know. So, next person, come on.
1, 2, 3.
So I'm still white, so I didn't go to Mexico. I stayed here for VBS, and that was really awesome. At first, when I was doing it, I was like, I never had I never had VBS. Freaking hate these kids. Have what I don't have? No kid, no. But and the first day, you can ask Victoria. I didn't do anything. I kind of sat in the back and I played, Dino Hunter on my phone. Just got it. Awesome. Just kidding, don't play it. And, and she forced me to go up there, and I'm actually, I'm really glad that she did that, because I ended up having a lot of fun, just being with these kids. I don't know their backgrounds. I don't know if they come from a broken home or, their family life sucks or whatever, I don't know that, but, I hope if, they did, then I could have made that a little better with, what I did. I'm done. 1, 2, 3.
That's so cool.
Oh, hey. I went to Mexico, and I went there, as we first went across the border, as was said, it was Mexico right there. It was like really bad as you first went in. It was like, wow. To us, poor people are people who live in small, like normal houses, like 1 story and 1 bedroom. To them, that's rich for us. Well, to them, that's rich. One nice little house is rich. What they live in is sometimes nothing compared to like a bathroom, a small kitchen. We have so much here that we don't even realize that we have so much. And those kids' faces, they're like happy for what they had. It was like really, really eye-opening for me. Like, wow. I never knew that poverty could be that bad. Because my family has been going through troubled times, and I was like, wow, I'm just being selfish completely. Like, these kids don't have even good shoes to wear. Some of them don't even wear shoes. And they don't care that they're dirty. They don't care that they don't have as much. They're like thankful that they even are able to live for a day and be able to see the world. They're happy that they are alive. We're happy if we just get what's just came out on the new Nintendo or new cell phone that just came out. But what we all need to realize is that we all need to be more thankful, even for the little things. And sorry. What really made me almost cry is what some of those kids don't even know their own, like some of them might not even know their own age. Like one day we were at the Bible college. I worked at Casa Horizonte, and I was with one of the kids, and he couldn't even speak. He was like almost 8. He couldn't even speak. He can't even stand up. And he was like, he always had a smile on his face. He was such a little hugglebug, as my sister would call it. And I was like, wow. And then little Jessica, even though she couldn't see, she was really happy. And that made me feel like a fool of myself. Like, I'm not even thankful for even having a bed, like a nice bed, like comfortable enough to sleep on. I'm like, wow. God really showed me a lot through this Mexico mission trip. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
I know you too. I'm really tired right now, so if I stumble on my words, I'm sorry. Well, what the Lord showed me was when we were at the Bible college. What's the name of the orphanage again? Okay, that place. Going in there, I was really nervous because they had disabilities, and I was kind of nervous about it. And there was this one girl, her name was Isabel, and she would like run into the middle of the room and just do this. And then she'd like run to the other side of the room and do the same thing, and she'd just do it all the time. And I was really scared of her at first until they were like, I have to go help with this thing, like just watch her, you know? And I was like, okay. And I was kind of like, I was just nervous of her. I didn't know like what to expect until I started like actually sitting there like, she didn't know really what her situation was, and she was just so happy about it and just showed this like joy, like just pure joy that you just can't explain it until you've seen it. And just she would just run around and she just smile, and she'd just do this, she'd pet your face, like you'd have to keep your hand on her, but you'd have to she'd pet your face, and she just like walked up to everyone and she just like clapped, and she was just always smiling so big. And I guess the Lord just showed me like just the joy that you can have even when your situation is just horrible. So, 1, 2, 3.
Is this thing on? Is it recording? All right. Oh, that's loud. What I was just like, what the Lord showed to me was just like God's creation, like from the people just to like the environment that were there. I grew up just going on a lot of missions fields since I was a kid, so I grew up just a lot around orphanages, and not saying that it was kind of old news, but just going out there, it was just kind of like, oh, I'm going to do this again. But this time it was different, because this time God blessed me with an opportunity to actually be in charge of translating. And I was placed as a translator, which was the first time ever me doing that. It was my first time going out with a lot of people I didn't know personally, that I grew up with. So even in that, it was just a blessing in itself, because God took me out of my comfort zone to go to somewhere where like I didn't even know who I was going with, where I was going. I understood where we were going because I knew like the routes, and I knew like the streets and whatever have you, but I honestly didn't know where we were going at. And just being there, it was just very humbling and just very moving, because my sister right now, she's in Mexico, and she's doing an internship, and she's gonna be going out to the Bible College in Mexico. And just being there, just kind of like fixing everything and just doing the concrete and just checking out the place, it kind of reminded me of what Jesus does. It's like he goes in front of us and he makes that path for us to go. And then once he's made it, like he makes us walk upon it. And I felt that way because I went out there and I was helping do the foundation of the dorms, knowing that in August my sister's gonna be going there. So it was very humbling for me just to be a part of the uprising of that college. And another thing that really stood out to me was just exploring, because I went with David, Jonathan, and Dominic. We went just walking around, and then I kept screaming out water to wine and rocks to bread. You guys know what that means. And I was just like hitting everything, and we're just messing around. And just being out there, it was just like awesome, because we got to just see what God created. And I was just like, I had a big staff. Me and David, we had this big staff, and we're like slamming everything. Like we're just like, oh, we have the faith. We'll like make this to water, and we'll make it to wine. And we're hitting all these stones, and we're just like, oh, rocks to bread, and we're like trying to do all that stuff. But it was just trippy because we're in that environment, and it just like dawned on me, because like not that in particular, but that's something that Jesus saw every day. It's like when he'll walk all those miles, when he'll go places, when people will be like, Lord, we're hungry. And he'll just be like, all right, pick up that stone, I'll make it bread. And it's like, just like thinking about that, it's like, imagine if we had that enough faith just to touch the bread, and it'll touch the rock and it'll turn it to bread. And just being out in an environment where it was kind of similar to what Jesus saw every day. And just seeing that and just being there, it was just an eye-opening event, and it was just beyond my my own ask and that could ever like go for it in my own will. And just with that, another thing that was just awesome, I'm kind of going over, but Aaron told me to do a Bible study. And then that was my first Bible study I've ever done in front of more than like myself and Jesus. But just being just being able to be used by God, just seeing that even though I might not see it, I may have not seen it like 3 years from now that, oh, God's gonna use me. But like just seeing now that it's taken so long since I first started being a Christian until now, that God's using me. But that just shows that the fruit that God plants in you, and like slowly but surely, like it will flourish. And just with that, just I'm not here just to tell you like, oh, go out and like be as Jonah and go out to Nineveh and like preach the word of God. But all ministry just starts at home. And just like with that, just be faithful in your own walk, and just be faithful to the things that God's give you, and like even just your surroundings outside, the sunset, even though technically the sun doesn't set. But just seeing that is just like, that's God's glory. It's like, just be faithful in little things and what God gives you. And just with that, I encourage you guys just to just be on fire for the Lord, and just keep on doing what God's telling you to do. And we'll clap on 3, 2, 1. Oh, that felt good.
So, I went to Mexico, and I remember the night before I left, I called my mom. I'm on the phone with my mom, telling her how I'm nervous because I'm a white Mexican who can't speak Spanish, sadly. I got you one. So she was telling me, though, she prayed over the phone with me, asking the Lord to calm my nerves about being nervous, and then we finished, and then she told me, she's like, I went on my first mission trip, and I thought I was there to bless the people. And she goes, I did bless the people there, but they also blessed me. And I was like, and she's like, that might be what you're doing in Mexico. And I was all, the Lord just might be trying to work in your life. And I just said, yeah, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And so we get to Mexico, and still highly nervous because still can't speak Spanish. And like we went to the church at the missions center, and there was some kids there, and I played with them for a little while, but that wasn't really what I wasn't feeling very blessed or feel like I was blessing the kids too much. And then it was when we went to the migrant camps and the orphanage is when I felt it. We went there, and there was kids there we showed up, and there was kids that were following the van and just smiling and waiting for us to get out of the cars so they could play with us. And I remember playing soccer for a while. That's how I got the cut on my arm. Beautiful barbed wire. And then I finished because, tired, and I come out, and there's this little kid all by himself, and I was like, all right, I'll go play with him. And I was thinking to myself, no, I'm not going to get along because I don't get along with kids at all. And so I went to play with this kid, and he was so happy to have somebody just play soccer with him, just to kick the ball around with him. He had me juggle the ball for him a couple of times and just pass it back and forth and then go chase it whenever we kicked it too far. And then that's when it hit me. I just sat down, and I basically cried because it felt so, it just felt great to know that I was blessing these kids. And then later I was like, I was doing a devotion too, like Alex, I was doing my first one. And the Lord laid on my heart about worship and like doing things for him. And one of the verses I shared was Psalm 128, verse 2, which was, you will eat the fruit of your labor, blessing and prosperity will be yours. And I was like thinking to myself, and I go, oh, wow. So I worked to bless these kids, and by blessing the kids, they blessed me. And, like, being there totally changed me. And so, yeah, I was very blessed to be able to hang out with the kids and love on them and then have them bless me. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3.
So finally, someone from VBS got up. Huh. Okay, well, and Paulo. So there's been like 2 of us. And Seth, okay. I'm just saying. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, this is supposed to be Christ-centered. It's okay, Paulo. We'll pray for you. No, just as being here, a lot of us, like the talk in the dorms and like going, we weren't necessarily super excited to be working with kids, and some of us even kind of felt like, you know, why are we here? Like, we're not in Mexico, we're not doing anything crazy, you know, kind of like I said earlier, you know, we're not in the missions field, but we are here. Just the really cool thing is just seeing the people's willingness to just show up. Because that's kind of like me and my youth pastor's joke is, you know, show up and that's it. Because you don't have anything to bring, God's going to do it. As long as you're willing, all you got to do is show up. So he'll tell me just show up, you know. And I saw a lot of you guys in VBS just showing up and being willing to be used. And I think like the highlight of VBS was seeing Paulo and Christian dancing up in front like a bunch of dorks for the kids. They didn't care what they looked like, you know, they didn't care if they had rhythm or whether they were on. They were just, they had that joy, you know, just having fun, you know, with the kids, and then seeing the game workers, you know, and just the different leaders just like playing with the kids and just being able to like talk to them and have conversations and, you know, give them a hug or whatever. It was just really encouraging to see how much we were being used just to love on them, because it's kind of that payback moment as you know, we all came here from different places, didn't know each other, and Aaron and the entire staff and our counselors took the time to, you know, put themselves aside and show up and love on us and, you know, hang out with us and, you know, play games with us and, you know, just talk. And I know that, like, there's so many people in this room that have impacted my life, that has just, you know, shown me the love of Christ. And it was just awesome to see us being able to take that, what's been given to us, and then now give it to some kids and be able to take almost like discipleship. Like, you know, I mean, God calls us to disciple, you know, one another. Like, now that we've come here and we've learned new things in Christ, now it's time to apply it. And I got to see, you know, myself and all of you guys apply it with the kids. And, you know, all these kids were running up today, you know, that were up there, and even yesterday at the carnival, you know, giving us hugs and just saying hi again, because they won't forget that. You know, I have childhood memories from, you know, sitting at VBS, you know, and, like, thinking that the older kid was really cool. And, you know, and there was someone that I looked up to. It was just cool to see us being able to be someone that the kids looked up to, you know, because we were being raw and exposed and just following Christ. And I just thought that was really cool. So 1, 2, 3.
Joel. Okay, that's just one of the things I heard you guys talking about. No, so I was in Mexico. I got a little bit darker, not as dark as I would have liked, but there was a lot of warfare going on in Mexico, like with the cars, and just a lot of people were getting hurt or sick or stuff like that. But one of the things that happened was, like, the truck that I was in almost like the whole time whenever we were at the mission, It was the second place we went to. I won't explain that because it'll take too long. But the truck first, like it wouldn't start up. We couldn't figure it out, so we had to all pile into a couple cars and then leave. But turned out that it was just like the alarm was on, so it wouldn't start. But we couldn't hear the alarm. It was one of the silent ones. I'm not quite sure about that, but it was sketch. And then like right after that, we went over to Agua Viva, right? Living water up in here. That place was awesome, by the way. Those kids were legit. But we locked the keys inside the truck, the same truck. Yeah, God bless Megan, by the way. She got the keys for us. But like, we were just getting like bombarded, and then I was talking to Ben about just all the warfare that was going on, and he said something that he was talking to someone else, but he said something to me. He said, "What are we doing so right that Satan hates us so much?" Satan be hating. What are we doing so right that Satan hates us so much? And I realized that usually whenever someone's going through bad times, it's like, what did I do wrong? You should be asking, what did I do right? More so than what did I do wrong? And we were down there, like Eric was saying, we were down there to bless these people, but we got blessed just as much, and Satan was trying to take that away from us with warfare. He was trying to start arguments or start any strife that he could among the group, so we wouldn't be blessed, and so we couldn't bless the people there. So just anytime you're in that kind of area, at that kind of atmosphere, just be on your toes and let God be your shield. That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, how's it going? Wow, it's loud. Well, I've been here for 2 years, so it's kind of just like a lot of new faces. But you're all legit. So, there's the VBS, the kids. It's just nice. God just blessed me, seeing all the smiles on their faces, all the simple jump around. You know, they all jump on you in your lap and everything. It's just like, you know, Isaac, stop it, and all this stuff. It's, you know, before I came back from Washington, I was really struggling with my faith with God. You know, I had I was testing my faith, like Satan was testing my faith really bad. So it really was like, we're just going down the hill. So came back from Washington, my dad's like, you know, we need to get you somewhere to go, like a church or something. I went to church over in the wine country, didn't work. I talked to my Uncle Roberto from Albuquerque, New Mexico, didn't work. And so, but then I came to randomly, my dad had tennis, and I came here, and then Pastor Ra is like, why don't you just come to the rest of the edge? And I'm like, I haven't been that a long time, so let's go. And it really just, I didn't get anything until I went with the kids, because if they could do that so young, if they can get God and accept it and understand that so young, then why can't I? So, 1, 2, 3.
I feel so powerful up here. Okay, fourscore. No. So I went up. I was in Group B, and we had a lot harder work at the college. Just saying. No, but you know, I really had a great time. As Eric was saying, seriously, we got so blessed. I mean, like, I feel like it was a blessing. It was a blessing to bless. But I think at the college it got me the most, though, because, I mean, we were out there working, and, I mean, the fellowship was just amazing. And, I can't remember who said it. I think it was Alex. But just raising the foundation for one of the buildings, it was really amazing. And I got a really nice tan too. That's another blessing. But the second day that we were there, I went to the orphanage. Yeah, I can't remember the name. Don't hate me. So I went to the orphanage, and it was really cool. I mean, okay, so there's 5 kids. 4 of them are autistic, and 1 of them's blind. And at first, I thought I was gonna hang out with the kids, and I like love kids. And Lauren came up to me that day. She was like, "Hey, do you like kids?" I'm like, "Oh, I love kids so much." And she was like, "Okay, you can go to the orphanage if you want." I was like, "Yes." But so we got there, and they were like, "Okay, we have some jobs for you. Like you can pull some weeds." And I'm like, "Oh, come on." So like for that first, for the first like 3 hours that we were there, me and Isaac Marietta, we were just picking weeds. We were like picking up trash, sweeping off like this porch thing, and I was like, man, I really want to play with these kids. But at the end, she was like, I got to play with the kids eventually, but she was like, thank you guys so much. Like, I mean, we don't ever get people to do this. Like, they're always like, wait, you want us to work outside? I was like, dude, now I feel bad. But so I still feel great that I got to bless them, and those kids, they're so amazing. After lunch, we still had like 3 or 4 hours to play or to do work. So we went, and then she said, "Okay, you can play with the boys now," because there were 3 girls and 2 boys. So me and Isaac got to play with the boys, and I can't remember who said it, but Pete, I think. Like they can't walk, they can't really talk, but they're just smiling and smiling and smiling. And they have this chair thing where they like both fit in it, and it's like an off-roader wheelchair. It's like the bomb. But so it's just around and around and around, and he wanted us to push him around this building, this huge building. And I mean, it got tiring, but they kept, I don't know, it was a blessing to play with them. And like the first 3 days that we were there at the orphanages and at the migrant camps, like Pete said again, and like almost like everyone that went to Mexico, just the poverty that the migrant camps are in, blessing them too, just walking out of the cars, seeing the smiles on their faces, that they're ready to come and hang out with us, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so much fun. They're excited, jumping around. Yeah, and it's amazing how happy they are with so little. And at the orphanage, all these kids, they were like, just the entire time after I told them my name, like I know a little bit of Spanish, so I can get by. I like told them my name and stuff, and they were like, David, 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 David. I was like, dude, this is so awesome, and that really blessed me too. But yeah, that entire week was just so amazing, and God blessed me just with the opportunity to go there in general. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay. So I didn't go to Mexico, but I stayed here, and there was 2 kids that I liked talking to. When I first met them, they seemed like I didn't want to talk to anybody, and then they ended up. I got really close to them, and like when at first we had the Bible study in the little tent, and I remember like them like hitting me with pillows and like licking me and everything, so it got really awkward. And then yeah, and then I later like noticed that they were like really upset during the whole like day during VBS. So I was like, oh, what's wrong, And I like found out like their family was not okay, but yet like they were so happy and smiling, and like these like little kids like were going through like they lost so many family members like in a couple of like years or months, that like they lost their like dad, and they lost their aunt, they lost their friend, like they died. I was like, and they were like so young, and like knowing myself, like sometimes I could be so rude to people, but then not realizing that like the next day they could be just literally dead. And that was like, I don't know, it really touched me because I realized they were like so small, and I was like, when I got there, I was like, these kids are gonna be brats, I was like, they're gonna hate me. And like
just knowing that, like, every time they see me, they come and, like, hug me, and, like, they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Did you bring us cookies? I'm just like, no, I don't have cookies. But, like, anything, just, like, a smile, like, hugging them was, like, such a blessing, knowing that, like, God was there for them, and, like how, like, their family is, like, separated, like, they don't, like, they're going through such a hard time at home, and I'm complaining about, like, I don't know, that I don't have a phone sometimes, and, like, knowing that they don't even have a dad or, like, a mom or anything, and I'm just like, man, these kids are, like, going through some tough things, and knowing that they could come and, like, we could bless them with, like, the Lord and everything, and I don't know, I just really like staying, knowing kids, and, like, stop, like I felt like I shouldn't complain about my family, even, like, other kids are, like, worse, you know? But yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I just had like a quick word of encouragement from VBS. One of the days, I think it was, I don't know what her name was. I think it was like Sophia or something like that. Do we have a Sophia in Backyard Boomers? Does anyone know? Yeah. I think we did. I don't know. Oh, yeah, Sophie. I think it was, yeah. Sylvia, there you go. One of the days she like fell and like hurt her knee, like, and she was crying. She's like bawling her eyes out. I'm like, oh my God. Girl, it didn't even hurt that bad. But she was like crying, so of course I sit her aside and she's like, I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I fell and hurt my knee, like, oh, I'm crying. And so I asked her if like she prayed about it to like help her feel better, and she's like, no. And so I told her to close her eyes and like bow her head, and we prayed about it. And as soon as we got done praying, she's like, wow, it feels all better, like I feel no pain. And I was like, for real? Like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, awesome. And she goes back to playing, and I was just thinking about it the other day, and it kind of pushed this point to me, like, this little girl has so much faith in God that all of a sudden her knee that hurt so bad, like, doesn't hurt. And, like, all we did was pray for, like, 20 seconds? And she feels all better. So it kind of pushed this point to me, like, if this girl has so much faith that, like, her injury is, like, gone in 20 seconds. And, you know, kids, like, if they get hurt, like, a small cut, like, it hurts for, like, 20 years. Like, it's so stupid. But, like, just, like, the fact that her injury, like, she believes so much in God that it's gone in, like, 20 seconds, how much more faith should we have in God when we go through things, like, in life? You know what I'm saying? Like, because recently I've been going through some things, like you guys already know. And I'm thinking, like, oh, I should trust in God. Or just telling me trust in God. Like, it'll go away if I just trust in God. And, like, it wasn't hitting me. Like, I'm not feeling any better, like, blah, blah, blah. But after this happened, I was just kind of thinking, like, my word of encouragement to you guys is, like, if this little girl has so much faith in God that she can pray for 20 seconds and her injury is, like, gone, how much more faith should we have in God when we've seen him work wonders in our lives, like, every day? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's it. 1, 2, 3.
Isaiah, you don't get a shout out. Just kidding. Hey guys, I never do this, so this is kind of cool. But yeah, I came up here like planning on telling you guys something else, but not anything what I'm going to tell you guys. Cool. All right. So first, shout out to Caleb, Rachel, and Caleb, the best car ever. Holla. Woo. Rachel, even though she's white, she can rap. Oops, sorry. She raps. Yeah. Rachel, come up here and rap. Okay, this is taking a long time. Anyways, so in case you guys didn't know and you guys were in the cars on the way to Mexico, I was an hour late to the meeting time because I was sleeping. So, yeah. So I was really embarrassed, and I was like, okay, like, this is the most embarrassing thing ever, and we missed church, and we didn't miss church, but we were late to church, and Sean's like, thanks for making me miss worship and stuff, and I'm like, oh, sorry, it's all my fault. All of it was my fault. So it was really embarrassing, and then I was just like reading in the Bible that day, and I was reading in Hebrews. Hi, Gabe. And it said, and without faith it is impossible to please him, for whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. Hebrews 11:6. And I was just thinking about that and thinking about Mexico and how, like, each one of the kids that we were with, like, blessed me. Like, you guys, not the other kids I don't know, but, like, David, he's, like, the most generous person I've ever seen in my life, you know? Like, anybody would ask him for money, and he'd just, like, give it. And you're like, what are you doing? So, Matthew was, like, sharing the gospel wherever we went. Like, anybody that he saw, he'd be, like, talking to them in Spanish and, like, sharing the gospel. Alex he gave an awesome Bible study, you know? Rachel rapped. It was just like, you guys, if you guys expected God to show up. Jordan, she held an orphan, and she's like, I love kids. I don't like kids, but I love kids. Like, like you guys expected God to show up, and he did. My impatience are begging for a shout out over there. Yeah, good job. I'm just kidding. But you guys, like, yeah, seriously. And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how I failed as a leader and how you guys all did, like, awesome. And thanks. The Lord, like, definitely reminded me, he's like, Bree, when you fall, are you going to, like, sit in self-pity, or are you going to rise up and worship me? And so I just want to remind you guys, like, if you fall, don't just sit there. Rise up and worship the Lord, and he will meet you where you're at. And today, are you guys going to believe and obey? Believe the Lord and obey? Like, you guys all believe that the Lord would show up, and he did. So that's cool. Or are you going to suffer oppression by not seeking the Lord today? I mean, it's like the end of the day, but, like, whatever. So you can do that tomorrow. Are you going to believe and obey the Lord tomorrow, or are you going to suffer because you didn't believe and obey? So I forgot all of the other shout outs I was going to do. Juju did good. DeAndrew, yeah, he stayed at VBS. Good job. I don't know. Hey, all the people who are pointing at me did VBS. I don't even know you guys. Okay. 1, 2, 3. No.
Okay. You guys, I can't see. I'm smiling so big. Okay. I can't talk. No. Okay, stop it. Okay, so the first night, a little girl came. Well, I think she actually didn't come until the second night, but she came. Her name was Lexi. She wouldn't talk to anyone, and, like, if you came up to her, she'd go, like shy away, like she was afraid of everyone. And so I was like, hey, the great way to pop someone's bubble is just by doing it by force. So I picked her up and spun her around and stuff. For the rest of the week, she refused to leave my arms. It was awesome to see from, like, the first day to the last day how much she changed, and she got more comfortable with everybody else. 'Cause the first day she wouldn't talk to me. The second day she was talking to me, but after a while she started smiling and like playing with the other kids. And on the last day she actually participated. She ate her food because she didn't do anything. She just wanted to sit there in my arms the entire time. And it started getting really frustrating
and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I want to tell her mom not to bring her tomorrow. It was terrible. But she came the next day, and the Lord used her to show me that I need to stop looking at myself, and also to keep pressing on, because it looks like it's not going to get better, but in the end, what you do does count. And I mean, on the last day, she was smiling, and she was playing, and she talked to people. It was crazy. She actually talked to somebody other than me. It was wonderful. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
L'chaim! All right. All right, so, all right, so I stayed behind for VBS, and, I was kind of apprehensive about it. I was like, oh, I've done VBSs before. I mean, what can I really do? But, throughout the course of the week, I really got to see, a lot of kids really grow in the faith, just either just being real quiet at first and then becoming more active, or, just they were really focusing on God, and they were happy to come to the Bible studies and stuff, and they were praising God. And even though, I don't think we see it all the time or recognize it, we have an impact in the people who we interact with. And I just think that, doing that for the Lord was just an awesome thing to do. And it brought to mind what it says in Psalm 8, verse 2, that out of the mouths of babes and infants you have ordained strength. And, God's strength is manifested in the faith of, little kids. And to be able to just serve them is awesome. But that's it. Right.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, I love you all too. Anyways, you spelled my name wrong. Forgot the H. Anyways, okay, so this week I stayed back for VBS. There you go. Sorry. And I ended up doing devotions on Thursday, and I was like, I didn't want to do it at all. I was so angry. I'm not even kidding. I was so angry, but I didn't show it because, I'm supposed to be happy and stuff like that. So I was just like, okay, so I did devotions, and I was like really nervous, and I was pretty much crying because like every time I go up in front of everybody, I start crying. So this is actually really good for me today. But what was I gonna say? Okay, so I talked about encouraging others and like how the Lord can pull you out. Don't laugh at me. Out of your sin and just put you in a place to be able to encourage other people. And so we were at VBS, and I know a lot of us didn't want to be there. And like a lot of those kids there, they really do look up to us, and they think of us as like literally their older brothers and sisters and stuff like that. And I was really not looking forward to working with the 7 and 8-year-olds because I really don't like older kids because I feel like they give more attitude than the younger ones. But, it's okay because we're supposed to love. God has called us all to love, and that's what we have to do. So, yeah, but when I was working with them, a lot of the little girls were like, they were like really nice to me, and they like to hug me and like hang off of me. And I was like, yay, children. And like a lot of them, like I really didn't think that I was like impacting them that much because I really didn't talk to them. I was just like, okay, sit down and go do that. But they like did like a couple of days after, like during the carnival and like times when I would see them in the cafeteria, they'd always come up to me and hug me, and I'd be like, oh, I feel so loved. And like I really didn't understand like how much I was encouraging them by like just doing like simple things that you wouldn't even think people thought about. But
they're pretty much always watching us, and that's, even though as creepy as that sounds, it's really cute because they're like, they're looking to us as an example for them. And so yeah, so 1, 2, 3.
What's up, everyone? Yeah, so I just wanted to share pretty much, what God's been showing me, and He's been showing me from the beginning of this whole, Bible college, the whole 5-week program and everything, and pretty much what He's been showing me is how He works, and how He works, as Himself, what He does in our lives, and also how Satan works, and it's it's not a joke, and like Joey was saying, down in Mexico they had spiritual warfare. And, I'm sure, like, my other kids had, like, experienced other things, and even the kids down here, everyone was getting sick, going through their emotional problems, facing their emotions, and, whether it was getting sick or arguing with someone else and stuff like that. And, for me, for the past 2 weeks, I've just been, because I'm over here, trying to move to California and everything, and, it's getting to the end of the program and everything, so I'm not just focusing on, okay, it's my last week on the edge. It's my last week on the edge, and then I need to start my new life out here. So that's been on my mind a lot, and Satan, he's just been bringing me down and everything. So, during VBS, I didn't want to be there, not at all. And, like, from when I woke up in the morning to as soon as the kids came in, I was, in a horrible mood. I just wanted to sleep, didn't want to deal with anything. And literally, as soon as, I stuck to my word and everything. I read the Bible, I prayed and everything, and I asked God. I said, please give me the patience and just show me some happiness and everything. And literally, as soon as the kids came in and everything, I went from being like really just upset and everything to just being so rejoiced. Seeing the smile on these, seeing the smiles on these kids, and them showing the love to us, and us. Being able to express the love to them, and that's exactly what God wants us to do. And one thing He showed me with VBS is like all it takes is one little prayer, and He'll change things in your life, and just like that, like you'll go from being happy to like, well, not happy to miserable, but miserable to happy. And yeah, so we just have to stay strong, and like I said on my devotions on Monday, about faith, just stay strong in faith. That's it. So 3, 2, 1.
Mexico, which was like kind of hard for me because I was supposed to stay for VBS. So going to Mexico was like, okay, what are you doing, God? Like, I thought I was supposed to be here for VBS. Like, I worked hard. Like, then Royce is like over here, like, Shayna, like, you can't go. And then like Sean's coming in, Shayna, you're driving to Mexico. And I'm just like, I got to a point where I was like, okay, Lord, whatever you want is like what's gonna happen. And I just trust that like my leaders are following the Lord and that they'll make the best decision for me. And getting into Mexico, like, Mexico's dirty, it's disgusting, it smells bad, the water, like, is disgusting, you can't drink it, like, the kids are even dirty, like, they're so cute, but they're, like, dirty, like, getting pee wiped all over you isn't a fun thing, you can't turn the water on for a long time, the water's cold, the showers are cold, and, like, even in that, I was still sitting there asking the Lord, like, why do I get to go to Mexico? Like, why is it so beautiful here? Why do I have the opportunity to be blessed in this area, And, like, in my head, like, my ministry's here, and the Lord, even in my devotions, He was reminding me, like, in the book of Joshua, like, there's so much territory to claim. Like, the Lord has given us so much territory to claim and to go and to claim lives for Jesus. And, going to Mexico, like, these kids have nothing. Like, they're lucky that they have a roof over their head. And, like, the floor, it's a dirt floor. They don't even have shoes, like,
we have everything. We have everything at like the snap of a finger, and we take it for granted, you know. And these kids, like, even in that, like, they have nothing, and they're so joyful. And like, I know that they probably don't know anything different than what they have, so like they're okay with it. But like, how can we be okay knowing that they have so little? Like, how can we be okay with knowing what we have and seeing what they have? You know, like, it's so simple. Like, I know it doesn't seem like a big difference that we're making when we just go and blow up balloons with kids and hold them and, like, color with them or paint their nails or, you know, even give them rice and beans and a Gospel of John. But, you know, you don't know whose life you're touching or who's going to get saved through that. And, like, so that was just, like, really touching my heart. But also, one of the things that really, like, grabbed a hold of my heart was seeing you guys serve. There's a point in time, like, where I was trying to, like, lead by example in serving, and you guys were, like, taking things over from me. You're like, no, let me carry that. No, I want to paint that, or I want to do that. Like, you guys are such awesome servants, and I'm so blessed by you guys, and you guys really did a great job. And, like, for you guys that stayed back, you know, people have to hold down the fort. Like, that's a ministry, too, guys. And, like, thank you so much for your service this week. You know, like, this couldn't have happened without you guys. Like, this is, you know, you guys did the Lord's work in Mexico and here in VBS. Like, praise the Lord. Like, good job, guys. I want to commend you guys for that. Like, good job. So, all right. That's it. 1, 2, 3.
So I was like really nervous, like debating whether or not I should come up here. Like my heart was like pounding really fast, partly because I don't really want to share, but the Lord was like, go. So this week, like if I'm gonna be honest, this week was probably one of the hardest weeks of my life emotionally. It just seemed like every morning, like the enemy was just like hitting me like blow after blow after blow, and I like try to get up and he's like no, and like hits me again with something like, do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when he did that? Do you remember when this happened or that happened? And you're not good enough. You're not going to be a good leader. You're not going to be able to serve your girls properly. You're not going to be able to do all these things. And I was just like slowly found myself like slipping back into like my old way of thinking. And you can ask my girls, and like I'm sure you can ask Olivia and Jude, like it like showed like bad. And like every night, like when we would come to VBS, and like my position at VBS was registration, and usually with the VBSs that I've helped out with, like I've been like there with the kids, like being a group leader or like helping with crafts, like something interactive where I was like with them. And this was the first VBS where I had to take a step back and I wasn't like there. And I was reminded of in Nehemiah, I think it's like chapter 12 or something, where there's like a list being made of like who Nehemiah appointed to be leadership. And it was like so-and-so was this and so-and-so was that, and then so-and-so was this, but they were second. And like it keeps going like that. It kept saying they're second, they're second, they're second. And the Lord was just reminding me, like, you know, Jordan, you may not feel like you're able to do this or that you are capable of doing this, or you may feel like your role in VBS is so like minuscule and unimportant. But as unimportant as you think writing names on a paper is, or like having a parent sign out their kid or sign them in, like you need to know like that's important to me. And whether you feel like it's not, like, or you do, like, you need to buck up and kind of like the ball's in your court now. Like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to let the enemy continuously like tell you you're not good enough or that you can't do it or you're unimportant? Or are you going to get up, dust yourself off, and keep walking? And so, I mean, I'm still kind of like shaky just because I'm still like dealing with different things right now. But I guess something that the Lord showed me is like, the enemy is going to bring you down as much as he can, and he will if you let him. And And he also just showed me like how much I really like love all of you guys, like whether I talk to you or if I don't talk to you. Like I was so excited to see each and every one of your faces when you guys got back from Mexico, and when I got to see my Ekna, my Philemon. But yeah, I'm so glad that everyone's back, and yeah.
I was supposed to go to Mexico, but I didn't because I was like puking all morning. But like I was like pretty bummed about not going to Mexico. But then like, cause like I didn't want to stay. But then like God was just showing me like be faithful in the little things and like and do everything unto Him. And so like that was pretty cool. And like I'm pretty shy. So like I'm like, God, like why can't I just like do like registration? Like that's easy. But like I got to lead a game and it was really cool, and like the kids tackled people. That was funny. But it was like really cool. So yeah.
Okay, I am not hardly ever in front of people, so this is a rare moment. I got to go to Mexico, and honestly, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what it was like or what it looked like. All I knew was just like a state full of Spanish people. So I thought, cool, get to go to Mexico. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going. So we get there, and it was pretty cool. The sights were really beautiful. Loved the water. And then I heard we were going to some migrant camps and some orphanage. I thought, oh, great, there's gonna be kids there. Not really good with kids. So I thought, what am I gonna do? So we get there, we pull out some coloring books, we color with the kids. I didn't really know what to do, so I kind of just walked around, hands in my pockets, and walked around. What am I supposed to do? Smile at the kids. Kids kind of walked around me, looked at me like a freak. But I'm like, well, I'm 6 foot tall. What am I supposed to think? So we went to the, don't know if it's an orphanage, but it's like an orphanage and a daycare. And kids were so cute, and I just wanted to play with them, but at the same time, I didn't know how to play with them since I'm the youngest in our family and there's no kids. So I was walking around watching some of my friends play soccer with the little boys and older boys. And God just says, Hannah, turn around. I'm like, why? I just want to stand here. He's like, turn around. There's a little girl. I don't want to play with a little kid. I don't know how to play with them. He's like, turn around. Okay, so I turn around. There's this little girl. She's looking at me. I'm like, hi. And she just looks at me. I'm like, oh, stupid. They don't speak English. And so I'm just like, hola? She's like, hola, pick me up. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I pick her up, and she's like super happy. She has this balloon. She keeps blowing up and blowing the air in David's face. She just loved it. And so I held her for a while, and I thought, wow, this is the first time a kid has actually come up to me and wanted them to pick them up. And I got to play with her, and I got to play some other kids, got to play tag, paint their nails, and it just really blessed me and how thankful they were for just like how little that they had. Like, I complain if I don't even get a meal of food, because I love food. And I just seen them, and I'm just like, man, I just want to come back and love on these kids. And at the same time, I'm just so afraid because I didn't know how to play with them. But I just was really blessed for the opportunity I got to have, and to play with the kids and hand out food to the families. And I'd probably go back if I could. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, stop.
Okay. My story kind of started out rough because I was supposed to go to Mexico, but my passport got misplaced, and so I kind of had a grudge towards the higher people, but I know that it wasn't their fault at all. Honestly, it was straight up warfare because once I stayed, I was like, okay, this sucks. I hate this. I don't like kids. They're snot-nosed brats, and I don't want any part of this at all. And I was like, I'm gonna beat up so many kids and I'm gonna get kicked out of Edge because I hit somebody. And I was like, but I knew that God had a plan, and I ended up getting switched from foods into 5 and 6-year-olds. And I knew that was where God wanted me. And there was this kid named Toby. Oh my gosh, this kid drove me insane. Okay, Paulo knows the story. This kid, he wanted me to hold his hand, and I was like, Toby, you have to play the game. You have to pay attention. Like, come on. And he goes, no, hold my hand. So I held his hand. He goes, no, you're not doing it right. And I'm like, look here, little one. I was like, no, don't get an attitude. Don't, just be calm, stay focused. Like, you're not here for you. You're here to serve the Lord, and you're here to serve these kids. And me and Anna Marie were messing around, and we're like, these kids suck, but we know we're supposed to be here for a reason. And it was mostly me that had a bad attitude, and we straight up had so much warfare. I don't know about you guys in Mexico, but we were so spiritually attacked. It was like every day, every 5 minutes, there was something going on, and we were like, what's the point? Like, why even go on if we're gonna be suffering like this whole time? But honestly, like, we survived it. We made it through the week. Like, how good is God? I mean, we wouldn't have made it without him. Honestly, like, I know that for me, I struggled with, because I have a heart for Mexico. I have a heart for the kids out there. I mean, to know that they have so little, and here we have so much. And to be with the kids here in the U.S., knowing that they have so much, but yet they don't realize what they have and what they take advantage of. It was so hard for me to let go of that hardened heart and to be able to suck it up and be able to serve these kids, to let them know what they have is so important, and to let them know that without Christ, their life is gonna go pretty rough. And it was good to be able to just spend this week with kids and be able to open up in different areas and to be able to just try a new ministry and try a new mission field in my own backyard. I mean, like, it was good. Okay, yeah. 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna get you later. Okay. Okay, I was kind of felt weird when I was placed in a 9 and 10-year-old. Like, oh great, I'm only 4 years older than 10-year-olds. What are they gonna think about me? And I noticed a lot of the people here did face spiritual warfare. I did too. A lot of my past started coming back up. I was getting texts from my friends that just brought up a lot of my old anger. I was kind of mad a little. But I noticed that one kid, Elias and Alex, like, felt I was their brother. When Paulo threw the water balloon at me, Elias like, oh man, I wish I had one I could throw it in his face. I was laughing. But I'm just glad that God brought me here to this EDGE program to learn about him and to serve these kids during VBS. I'm just glad I came, got away from my old past, and just glad. 1, 2, 3.
Can you see me? No, I'm kidding.
Wow, I had a really good week. I'm really nervous. I don't know why. Okay. I was a group leader, and then I had group helpers. It was Ayana, it was Anna Marie, it was Seth, it was Jacob, and Noah. And Tay. I'm sorry. Sorry. No, but and Hannah. See, okay. I'm sorry. I'm nervous, but I was just really blessed not only to see the kids like just worshiping. Like I had to take a step back because I felt like I was being like super like I was counting my kids like every 5 seconds to make sure they didn't leave and stuff. And I had to take a step back and just like watch them. And when I took a step back, I started to cry because it was so great just to see them just worship and dance and just have fun. But at the same time, I was watching my group helpers, and I was so blessed by them. And just like Ayana was saying, like she was supposed to go to Mexico and she didn't, and just to see like her attitude change like through the week, like it was so great to see Tay like serve and get close to like Joseph and stuff, or Joey. It was so good just to see like all of them, and Hannah just being stuck to Lexi the whole time. And I was just really blessed to just see us like just all serve and come together. And where is he? Jacob did such a good job, and Seth did such a good job, and I was just blown away. I was just really blessed just to see us like all come together and just give these kids a like let them enjoy their week, but we also show them Jesus. And I was just blessed by the kids, and especially Gavin. He was crazy. He had his moments. He loved the spaghetti. But I don't know, just watching him through the week and even at the carnival, and just seeing him just like, I guess you'd say like grow and stuff, was just really encouraging for me. And yeah, I was just super blessed by all of my backyard boomers. So yeah. Backyard boomers! Boom, boom, boom! 1, 2, 3!
This sounds weird. Okay, hi guys. Oh, I think I'm too close. Okay, so I was here for VBS, and most of the people, I kept hearing you guys come up here and you're like, I don't want to deal with stinky kids and everything. But for me, honestly, I was just like, dang, you know, I can't be a part of this. Like, I can't be with the kids as much as I want to be. I have to be that creepy girl behind the camera. Like, I just, like, I was, like, super, like, upset, like, the fact that I couldn't be one of the leaders again this year, because I've helped out with VBS, and every year I was able to either lead a group or be a group helper or lead, like, arts and crafts or something, and this was the first year where I had to do the behind-the-scenes work, and it kind of sucked, you know, and, like, hearing everyone complain about it, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, Lord, like, let's trade places. I want to do that, you know? But what the Lord was speaking to me, like, what he was showing me was, you know, sometimes when God tells you to do something and when you need to serve him and give him glory, it's not going to be the thing that you always want to do, and you're not always going to feel comfortable, and you guys aren't always going to be happy about the position you're in. But you got to be still faithful to your calling, and like, that's what I got out of it. And I mean, I guess a lot of you guys learned the same thing, like how you guys didn't want to do certain, like you guys didn't want to be with the kids at first. But then later on you realized that you guys loved it and stuff. So, I mean, that's what also I learned, is like I did end up loving it. You know, I was still able to see like a few of my pictures like up there today, like during church, and I was like, oh, I took those. But I mean, I was still upset because I wasn't getting, like, when I was serving, you know, you don't always get that pleasing. You don't always get that thank you that you want, you know. Like, I remember Victoria kept coming up to me. She was like, Victoria, you got to take pictures. I keep seeing you sitting around. And I was just like, every time I took a break, like, I swear, she always saw me sitting down, and it sucked. And, like, she had Kylie tell me, and she had Bella tell me, she had Andrew Capili tell me, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I didn't get that thank you. I didn't get that please. You know, I was just like, okay, you're welcome. But, you know, my mindset was in the wrong place. But really, you know, was I serving the Lord? You know, was I being faithful to that small calling I had, you know, just taking pictures wherever I was needed? And so I guess that's my encouragement to you guys is just continue to be faithful. And when he calls you, just do it and do it with a joyful heart. And, yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Hey guys. So, I don't know. I guess like I went to Mexico with the team, I guess. I went to Mexico and I found out like the day before we left that I was gonna be a driver, and I was terrified. I thought like at first, yeah, I was just really scared. And Aaron was like, "You'll be good, you'll be good." I was like, "All right." And so I drove, and I had Bethany Wouter. She's not here. But I had her in my car, and then I had Eric and Tony, like the most random group in the whole world. And we were driving there, and I remember we crossed the border, and like, yeah, just the same as what everyone else is saying. Just like right when you cross, there's like this road that's parallel to like the border between California and like Mexico. And you just like, I remember like looking over to the right and seeing like just like lush green, and it's just like beautiful. And then you hit the border and you see like the barbed wire, and then you see this canal. And there's just like people just like living in it, and like then you look to your left and there's just like it's just like brown, and like there's buildings like with graffiti and like all this stuff. And so I was just like the vast difference like immediately, just like I don't know, it was just kind of like a wake up call, just seeing like I don't know, just right off the bat seeing like this is not what I'm used to. And I was with Bree. Where is Bree? I was with Bree. When we first got to the mission center, and we went up to the little church for the service, and we were just sitting there, and like what like stood out to me most was when we first got there, we were kind of just like letting all the other kids that are like used to coming, they all went into the church, but they were like telling us, no, you guys come sit down, and just like how hospitable they are like naturally. Like our culture isn't really like that. Like I don't know, like we're just very like to ourselves, like, oh, like, I don't know. And so something that I thought was like really sweet is that they greet each other like with a handshake. Like they don't even like know who we are, but they're like, hey, like they're like making an effort to say hi to each and every one of us. I just like, I don't know, it's just something that kind of like spoke to me. I was like, wow, like there's not really much genuine interaction between like, I don't know, just people here because we're so consumed with like ourselves. And then, yeah, back to the conversation with Bree, we were like sitting on the wall, and we were looking out like just at like this little house. It was like this little pink house and like this little shack. And we were just looking at it, we're like, you know, like that's like the size of our room. Like that little house right there. And like we were just talking about like how much pride they must have in this like little house. And I don't know, like growing up, I was like, my life was really like comfortable. Like my dad had a great job, and like I had a really big house. And then like I don't know, like I just went through like the process of like my parents divorcing and like losing everything, and then like even like how the Lord brought me to like working here and like living with 5 people, and then like living in this little room with Bree Brower, and just like I don't know how much he just like humbled me. And then like being in Mexico and seeing these people and how their perspective on life is just so different, because like here we like go to school to like figure out what we want to do with our lives. It's like, okay, it's always like looking forward into what we're supposed to do. Like, okay, you want to like get good grades in high school so that you can go to a good college, and like you want to make sure that you do well in college so that you get a great job so that you can like have a more than comfortable life. And like I don't know, like in this past year, I went to university for like last semester, and just like being in that environment and how everyone's just so consumed with themselves and just like where they want to be instead of like enjoying where they're at. And so like just seeing like everyone, just the people in Mexico, like
they do. They work so hard. They probably work harder than like any of us ever will in our whole lives. And like how they're so content in what little that they have. Like they have this little shack that they probably built themselves, guys. Like they just live there and they raise a family, and it's like they just have so much joy, and they're still excited to see us, like knowing the wealth that we come from, and like just being so hospitable and just having like that, I don't know, just like that welcoming like spirit that like I feel like we lack so often because we're so consumed with like, oh, well, what if they think that I'm weird? What if they like, I don't know, because like I'm super awkward. Like, I don't know, I didn't want to come up here, but just like learning to get over yourself and just seeing that like there's a lot more to this world than like our little bubble. Like we live in this tiny little place in this like this city that's like really nice, and like we're like, oh, Marietta sucks, like I hate it. But it's like we have so much. And then just one more thing, like at the migrant camps, I remember I was kind of scared just because I don't speak Spanish. I don't know, I took ASL in high school. It's just not one of my strengths. And like just going there and like kind of being like apprehensive about it, and like just how the kids, like they're just so trusting, and like they just like at first they're a little bit shy, and then they come up to you and like you blow bubbles with them, and just like I remember at the first migrant camp, by the end of it, like this girl was like on my back, and like I don't know, it's just like just the simplicity of like everything just like touched me, because I was like, man, like I feel like here it's like, oh, get away from my kid, like why are you looking at my kid? But there it's like they're just so like, no, like play with my kid. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just seeing the culture there in comparison to just how like selfish our culture is like, I don't know, I just thought it was really cool, and it just kind of made me like, I don't know, we could learn a lot more from them than they can from us. So that's it. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so I stayed for VBS, and it was pretty cool, just seeing all the little kids running around and, having personal relationships with, each one. And, the patience it took sometimes with especially little Toby. Every time we took him to the bathroom, and he'd wash his hands, and he'd dry it all up. Levi knows. Wash his hands, and then get all the soap off, and then he wanted to flick the water on us. And, like, right in my face and on my phone and everything. I was like, oh, okay. So I got a little angry, and I was like, next time, me and Levi had like paper towels ready for him. So he got it, and he starts running towards us, and we're like, nope. And just grabbed him real quick, and he gave his little giggle. He's like, and then ran out. Yeah. But no, it was definitely really cool. And some of you guys know the little kid Chris Lee. Last year, some of you guys know. You guys know John Wang and how he spoke and King Jesus. Well, last year I had this little kid, Chris Lee. He was saying it a lot. I had him saying it, and this really spoke to me, like how they remember little things even a whole year after. So he didn't see me for like a whole year. So next year, this year I come and I see him, like, hey Chris. First thing he does, King Jesus, and I'm like, this kid. But no, it was really cool, and. It was a blessing, so that's pretty much all I had to say. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so at the migrant camp, there are these 2 kids that were there last year. Shayna knows. But their name was Coel and Daniela, sorry. And just like my heart broke for them, they were disabled. Both of them couldn't walk, and they just had like this ointment on their face because their mom would like burn their cheeks when they cried, and I felt so helpless, because I couldn't help them. And I know it's such a cliche thing to say, like when you go to Mexico, like, oh yeah, like we're so blessed, but guys, we are so blessed to be like where we are, like. We're so fortunate to live here, and it's just like, I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah, it's just like, felt helpless, and all I could do is pray for them, and prayer is important, so Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, I stayed behind for VBS. I don't have a passport apparently. I didn't go to Mexico. Funny, yeah, funny, Juan. Anyways, yeah, I know. Anyways, I helped with the 7 and 8-year-olds, and my goal was to break the kids out of their shells and like get those kids that sat in the back and put them in the front row, get them to start dancing and everything, and have them participate in the crafts. And in Proverbs 16:24, it says, "Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones." And that just like really spoke to me, because even a word of encouragement can matter when it comes to helping a kid out of that. And yeah, that's basically it.
All right. So we good? You good? Okay. So I stayed behind for VBS and helped out with the 7 and 8s, the squirrels. Like I don't know. The name was pretty weird, but it's just squirrels. I felt really blessed with the 7 and 8-year-olds. Cause like I totally forgot like I was that age. Like I know I grew up. I just forgot I was that age for some reason. But it was just the way they were acting is like how I acted, like very immature. And like there's some kids I wanted to like, if I had a slipper, it was like spank them, but that's the way I grew up. But yeah, it's like VBS, I feel like for me it went by really, really fast. Like it was like in the blink of an eye, it was already done. And then it's just like God had me doing VBS for a reason. I don't know, I think it might be like to get closer with kids. But yeah, like it was a lot of fun just doing the VBS with the little kids and the niños, and it was, yeah, it went by so fast. Like you guys, it's so fast. So yeah, 1, 2, 3.
I was waiting to make. Okay. Hi. Okay. Okay, so I was reading through Matthew, and like, I'm scared. Okay, I was reading through Matthew 18, and it just, Matthew 18, verse 3 said, "Then he said, I tell you the truth. Unless you turn from your sins and become like little children, will never get to the kingdom of heaven." And that verse didn't really hit me until we started VBS. I'm like, so like I read that verse when we started VBS again, and like, since I didn't want to think, I Googled attributes of like children, and and like here's a little list, and it says they live in the present. They don't worry about the future or like what's gonna happen or anything. And also they have no concerns about money, productivity, or being cool. And sometimes. And they're endlessly curious and ask questions without end. And that one like hit me hard in the heart. Like, am I continually asking God questions? Am I continually like seeking Him without end, like children? So my encouragement to you guys is that you guys just have a childlike faith and be annoying. Okay, just kidding. Okay. That's it. Oh, right.
All right. By a show of hands, how many of you guys were blessed by serving this week? Just, I want to see. So that's most of us, except for Gideon, because he's on his phone. You liar, heathen. Okay. Yeah. So, just a little background, little story. We had our staff retreat before Edge, and I remember Jessica right there. He was sharing on having that mission mindset, and he said, you know, you don't have to go to a different country to be a missionary. You don't have to go across the border to be a missionary. You have to do it here. And then he asked a question. He said, how do you expect to be a missionary at somewhere else when you don't even do the things you do here? And, you know, these 5 weeks I was thinking about that, about being a missionary. I was like, okay, what does that mean? And to me, that meant picking up people's trays. That meant staying after class and picking up trash, really preferring my brothers. And 2 weeks ago, I was going through 1 John. 1 John 3:18 says, little children, let us not love in word or tongue, but in deed and in truth. And I want to encourage you guys today. You know, going on a week missions is great. You know, experiencing, holding orphans, playing with them is really great. But sooner or later, those memories will fade away. I'm sorry, but it's true. But I want to encourage you guys to have that mission mindset today in America. You know, there's always going to be orphans, there's always going to be widows, there's always going to be people in need, regardless of if it's in Mexico or some other place. So Jessica encouraged me to be a light here, where I can speak the language, where I can speak it, where I can share the gospel. And I want to say that to you guys as well. Derica. Yeah, so keep that mission mindset, guys. You don't have to be in a different country, honestly. 1, 2, 3.